the power and creation. Every moment of your life is infinitely creative, and the universe is endlessly bountiful. Just put forth a clear enough request, and everything your heart desires must come to you. These are the words by Shakti Gawain. He was an author. In these next chapters, you will learn how easy it is to harness the force of love for money, health, career, business, and relationships. With this knowledge, you'll be able to change your life into whatever you want. To bring a specific desire to you, follow the simple steps of the creation process. Whether it's bringing something you want or changing something you don't want, the process is always the same. The creation process. Imagine it, feel it, and receive it. Number 1. Imagine. Use your mind to focus on and imagine what you desire. Imagine yourself being with your desire. Imagine yourself doing things with your desire. Imagine yourself having your desire. Number 2. At the same time as you imagine, you must feel love for what you are imagining. You must imagine and feel being with your desire. You must imagine and feel doing things with your desire. You must imagine and feel having your desire. Your imagination connects you with what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power, drawing your desire to you. This completes your part in the creation process. Number 3. Receive. The force of love will work through the visible and invisible forces of nature to bring what you desire to you. It will use circumstances, events, and people to give what you love to you. Whatever you desire, you must want it with all your heart. Desire is love, and unless you have the burning desire in your heart, you will not have enough power to harness the force of love. You must really desire what you want. As an athlete desires to play a sport, a dancer desires to dance, and a painter desires to paint. You must desire what you want with all your heart, because desire is a feeling of love, and you must give love to receive what you love. Whatever you want to be in your life, whatever you want to do in your life, whatever you want to have in your life, the creation process is the same. Give love to receive love. Imagine it, feel it, receive it. When using the creation process, imagine and feel that you have what you want already and never deviate from that state of being. Why? Because the law of attraction copies whatever you give, and so you must imagine and feel having it now. If you want to lose weight, then give love by imagining and feeling yourself with the body you love, instead of imagining and feeling that you are overweight every single day. If you want to travel, then give love by imagining and feeling yourself traveling, instead of imagining every day that you don't have the money to travel. If you want to improve yourself in a sport, acting, singing, playing a musical instrument, hobby, or in your job, then give love for what you want to be by imagining and feeling whatever it is you would love to be. If you want a better marriage or a better relationship with anybody, then give love by imagining and feeling what it would be like to have that relationship. Faith is to believe that which you do not yet see, and the reward of this faith is to see that which you believe. I repeat, faith is to believe that which you do not yet see, and the reward of this faith is to see that which you believe. These are the words by Saint Augustine. He was a theologian and bishop. When you begin working with the creation process, you might want to start by attracting something unusual. When you specifically attract something unusual, you will be left in no doubt about your power when you receive it. One young woman began by choosing to attract a specific flower, a white calla lily. She imagined holding the flower in one hand, smelling the flower, and she felt that the calla lily. 2 weeks later, she went to a friend's house for dinner, and there in the centerpiece of the table was a bouquet of white calla lilies, the very flower and color she had imagined. She was excited to see the lilies, but she didn't say anything to her friend about her imagined flower. As she was walking out the door at the end of the evening, her friend's daughter spontaneously plucked one white calla lily from the vase and put it in her hand. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. What you will imagine, and at last you create what you will. These are the words by George Bernard Shaw. Give it and receive it. Remember that the law of attraction says, whatever you give, you receive. If you think of the law of attraction as a mirror, an echo, a boomerang, or a copying machine, it will help make you clearer on what to imagine and feel. The law of attraction is like a mirror, because a mirror reflects back exactly what is in front of it. The law of attraction is like an echo, because whatever you give out is exactly the echo that comes back. The law of attraction is like a boomerang, because whatever boomerang you throw is the exact same boomerang that comes back to you. The law of attraction is like a copying machine, because whatever you give is reproduced exactly and you will receive back an exact copy. A few years ago, I was in Paris for my work and I was walking down a street when a woman rushed past me wearing one of the most beautiful skirts I had seen, intricately detailed in a Parsian style. My reaction was love. What a beautiful skirt! A few weeks later, I was happily driving to work in Melbourne, Australia, when I was forced to stop because another driver was trying to do an illegal U-turn at an intersection. As I looked at the store window where I had been forced to stop, I saw the exact same skirt I had seen on the woman in the streets of Paris. I could not believe my eyes. When I got to work, I called the store and they told me that they had received only one skirt from Europe in that style, and it was the skirt in the window. Of course, the skirt was my size. When I went to the store to purchase the skirt, it was reduced to half price, and the store attendant told me they had not ordered the skirt and that it had just appeared in their order accidentally. The only thing I had done to bring that skirt to me was to love it. And from Paris to a suburban street in Australia, through circumstances and events, the exact same skirt was delivered to me. That is the magnetic power of love. That is love's law of attraction in operation. Imagination. This world is but a canvas to your imagination. Henry David Thoreau's words. He was a transcendentalist author. When you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. When you imagine something positive, something good, and you feel love for it, that is what you are giving and that is what you will receive. If you can imagine it and feel it, then you can receive it. But what you are imagining must come from love. Whatever you are imagining must not harm another person. Imagining something that brings harm to another person comes not from love but from a lack of love. and with certainty, any negativity, even imagined, will turn back with an equal ferocity on the person who sent it. Whatever you give, you receive back. But I want to tell you something fantastic about the force of love and your imagination. The highest and best thing you think is possible is nothing compared to what the force of love can give to you. Love has no limits. If you want to be full of vitality and happiness with an incredible zest for life, the force of love can give you health and happiness at levels far beyond what you have seen. I'm telling you this so that you can start to break the boundaries of your imagination and stop putting limits on your life. Push your imagination to the limits and imagine the best and highest that you possibly can of whatever it is that you want. The difference between someone who is struggling and someone who has a fabulous life comes down to one thing. That's love. Those who have a great life imagine what they love and want, and they feel the love of what they are imagining more than other people. People who are struggling are unintentionally using their imagination for what they don't love and don't want, and are feeling the negativity of what they are imagining. It's just a simple thing, but it creates vast differences in people's lives. And you can see the difference everywhere you look. The secret of the mastermind is found wholly in the use of imagination. These are the words by Christian D. Larson, the New Thought author. History has proven that those who dare to imagine the impossible are the ones who break all human limitations. In every field of human endeavor, whether science, medicine, sports, the arts, or technology, the names of the people who imagined the impossible are engraved in our history. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they changed the world. Your entire life is what you have imagined to be. Everything you have or don't have, every situation and circumstance of your life is what you have imagined it to be. The problem is that many people imagine the worst. They are turning the most wonderful tools against themselves. Instead of imagining the best, many people are in fear and imagine all the things that can go wrong. And as surely as they keep imagining and feeling those things, they happen. Whatever you give, you receive. Feel and imagine the best and the highest you can in every area of your life, because the best you can imagine is a piece of cake for the force of love. When my family had settled in the United States, we flew our 15-year-old dog Cabby to be with us. One night, not long after Cabby had arrived, he managed to get out of a small gap in the fence. Our home backs onto mountains, so it was far from an ideal situation. In the dark, we searched the streets and the trails leading up to the mountains, but our dog was nowhere to be found. As my daughter and I were searching, negative feelings of anguish began to increase. I knew we had to stop searching and change the way we were feeling inside immediately. The negative feelings were telling us that we were imagining the worst, and we had to change the way we were feeling quickly and imagine the best. At that point, every possible outcome could still happen, and we had to choose the outcome of having Cabby safely home with us by imagining and feeling that he was home. We returned home and we pretended our dog was with us. We put food in his bowl as though he were there. We imagined hearing the bell around Cabby's neck as he walked down our hallway. We talked to him and called out his name as though he were there. My daughter went to bed imagining that her best friend of 15 years was sleeping next to her bed as he always did. Early the next morning, we discovered a notice on a tree at the foot of the mountain saying that someone had found the little dog. It was Gabby. Just as we had imagined, our dog returned home safely to us. Whatever you can imagine exists. Creation is only the projection into form of that which already exists. These are the words by Srimad Bhagavatam, ancient Hindu text. Whatever desire you can imagine already exists. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. 5,000 years ago, ancient scriptures recorded that all of creation was done and complete, and that anything that could possibly be created already exists. Now, 5,000 years later, quantum physics has confirmed that every single possibility of anything and everything actually exists now. The creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was complete. What that means for you and your life is that whatever you can imagine for yourself in your life already exists. It's impossible for you to imagine anything that doesn't exist. Creation is complete. Every single possibility exists. So when you imagine breaking a world record or traveling to the Far East or being full of health or being a parent, those possibilities of you doing those things exist in creation right now. If they didn't exist already, you would not be able to imagine them. To bring the things you desire and love from the invisible into your visible life, all you have to do is give love for what you want through your imagination and feelings. Imagine your life the way you want it to be. Imagine everything you want. Take your imagination with you every day and imagine what it would be like if your relationships were all wonderful. Imagine how you will feel if your job suddenly took off. Imagine how your life would be if you had the money you need to do what you love. Imagine how you would feel if you were overflowing with health. Imagine how would you feel if you could do what you wanted to do. Use all of your senses to imagine what you want. If you want to travel to Italy, imagine the smell of olive oil, taste the pasta, hear Italian words being spoken to you, touch the stone of the Colosseum, and feel being in Italy. In conversations and in your thoughts, say imagine if, and then fill in the rest of the sentence with what you want. If you are talking to a friend and they are complaining because their work colleague got a promotion and they didn't, help them by saying, imagine if the reason you didn't get that promotion is that you're being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money. Because the truth is that the possibility of your friend being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money already exists. And if they can imagine and feel it, they can receive it. Atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentials or possibilities rather than one of things or facts. These are the words by Werner Heisenberg, the Nobel Prize winning quantum physicist. Use your imagination and create games so that you feel really good. Whatever you can imagine is waiting for you, fully created in the invisible. And the way to make it visible is to harness the force of love by imagining and feeling what you love. After graduating from college, a young woman struggled for months and months trying to get a job. Her biggest obstacle was imagining having a job when she didn't have one. She wrote in her journal every day that she was grateful for the job that was coming to her, but still no job. Then she had a sudden realization. Her desperate actions of applying for one job after another were saying out loud and clear to the law of attraction that she didn't have a job. So here is what the young woman did that changed everything. She decided to use her imagination and live as though she were already employed. She set her alarm early as if she were going to work. Instead of writing in her journal that she was grateful for the job that was coming, she wrote how grateful she was for her success in her job and for the people she worked with. She planned the clothes she would wear to work every day. She set up a savings account for her paychecks. Within 2 weeks, she felt as though she really had a job. Then, out of the blue, a friend told her about a position that had become available. She went for an interview, got the job, and received everything she had written about in her journal. Prop yourself up. Whenever you permit yourself to think what persons, things, conditions, or circumstances may suggest, you are not following what you want to think. You are not following your own desires but borrowed desires. Use your imagination in determining what you want to think or do. These are the words by Christian D. Larson, the New Thought author. When using the creation process, use all the props you can to generate the feelings that you have what you want already. Surround yourselves with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. If you want new clothes, make sure you have space in your wardrobe with empty clothes hangers ready for your new clothes. If you want to bring more money into your life, does your wallet have space for money, or is it full of irrelevant bits of paper? If you want a perfect partner, you must imagine and feel that the person is with you now. Are you sleeping in the middle of your bed, or are you sleeping on one side because your partner is on the other side of your bed? If your partner were with you now, you would be using only half the space in your wardrobe because your partner's clothes would be in the other half of the wardrobe. Do you set your table for 2 people or 1 person? Just putting out an extra place is something you can easily do. Do your best not to contradict your desire in your day-to-day actions and instead use the world of props that surround you to feel as though you already have what you want. These are simple little things you can do with props and your imagination, but they are incredibly powerful. One woman used props and her imagination to receive a horse. She wanted a horse all her life, but she could not afford to buy one. She wanted a chestnut Morgan gelding, and a Morgan would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So she imagined seeing the exact horse she wanted each time she looked outside her kitchen window. She put a picture of a chestnut Morgan horse on the screen of her laptop computer. Whenever she had the opportunity, she doodled drawings of the horse. She began looking at horses for sale even though she couldn't afford them. She took her children to a store and together they tried on riding boots. She looked at saddles. She bought the only things she could afford and a horse blanket, lead, and horse brushes, and she kept them on display so she could see them every day. Sometime later, the woman went to a horse expo in her town. A raffle was being held at the expo and the first prize was a chestnut Morgan gelding, the exact same horse she had been imagining. And of course, she won the raffle and received her horse. Your senses are props too. So you use all your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel the touch of what you want with your skin. Taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. One man worked with all his senses to bring himself multiple job offers. He had applied for 75 positions over 3 years and had not received a single job offer. But then he used his imagination and all his senses to imagine he had his dream job. He imagined every detail in his new office. He touched the keys of his computer in his imagination. He smelled the lemon scent of the furniture polish on his new huge mahogany desk. He imagined his work colleagues. He gave them names. He had conversations with them. He had meetings with them. He even tasted the tacos at lunch breaks. Several weeks later, he began receiving requests for interviews. Then requests for second interviews poured in. Then he received not only one fantastic job offer, but two. He accepted the job he loved the most. It was his dream job. Know that when you have completed your part in the creation process, creation is done. You are no longer in the old world where you didn't have what you wanted. You have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want, even if you can't see it yet. Know that you will receive it. Points of power. To harness the force of love in your life, to bring something you want or change something you don't want, the creation process is always the same. Imagine it, feel it, and receive it. Your imagination connects you to what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power, drawing your desire to you. Imagine yourself being with your desire. At the same time, feel love for what you're imagining. Desire what you want with all of your heart, because desire is a feeling of love, and you must give love to receive what you love. When you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. Push your imagination to the limits and imagine the best and highest that you possibly can of whatever it is that you want. Whatever desire you can imagine already exists. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. In conversations and in your thoughts, say, imagine if, and then complete the sentence with what you want. Use props. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. Your senses are props too. Use all your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel it, taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. When you have completed your part in the creation process, you have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want, even if you can't see it yet. Know you will receive it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.